All right, let's go ahead and get started on this. This is the new chapter for us, chapter 5, homework number 1 in our CPM curriculum. This is our number 1 and 2, and yep, number 1 and 2. I believe these are review from the previous chapter. These are fraction busters, right? And remember, if you were doing fraction busters in the previous chapter, what we did was we first took each of those denominators or the bottom of the fraction, and we found the lowest common multiple of them. So for example, 8 would be, starting with 8, it'd be 16. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 8 is 24. 24 plus 8 is 32. 32 plus 8 is 40. Right? And we go about maybe 5 multiples. 4, right? 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 4, or you can say times 2 times 3 is 12. Okay. Plus 8 is 16. Plus 8 is 20. And we're looking at the 2. So 2, multiples of 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. We can say 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 2 more is 6. Plus 2 more is 8. And plus 2 more is 10. So these are all multiples of 8, 4, 2. Okay? And then what we want is we want things that are common and that are least. So we want to find the numbers that are the least about all of them. So if I'm looking at all of them and see what they all have in common, I'm seeing that there's an 8 that they all share. Right? So that means that the LCM, or the least common multiple, is 8, which means I'm going to multiply everything on either side of the fraction by 8. Okay, because 8 is our LCM, 8 is our least common multiple. All right, so make sure you review that if you haven't had a chance to. So that 2x over 8 minus 3x over 4 equals 1/2. Okay, both of those, I'm going to go ahead and multiply each side by 8, and the work is right here. So if you don't remember, the work is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase all of that first and foremost. So I have a little bit of room. So I'm multiplying both sides by 8. Okay, so left side is by 8, and on the left side you notice that when I do multiply by 8, it's going to give me I'm going to have to distribute that, and the right hand side, if I multiply by 8, it's going to be 8 times 1/2. Okay, so I'll start with that. 8 times 1/2, use a calculator or understand that half of 8 is going to be 4. Okay, on the left hand side, I'm going to go 8 times 2x divided by 8, and you can do the work there. That's going to end up giving you 2x. And then you're also going to do 8 times 3x divided by 4. Right? 8 times 3, negative 3, is going to be negative 24x divided by 4 is going to be 6. So that's going to give me a minus 6x. Okay, and now I can combine them all because I've essentially busted their fraction. Right? So 2x minus 6x makes negative 4x equals 4. Divide both sides by negative 4. Okay, by doing that, these negative 4's cancel. That leaves me with x equals, and 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. Okay. Okay, so second problem 2, we got factors of 6, so I'll write them down. So 6 is going to be 6, starting with 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Okay. Multiples of 4. Did I say factor before? I meant multiple. Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So multiples of 6, 4, and 2 are right there. So that means that I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by the lowest or the least common multiple. And if I look at all of them, let's see. You know what? It doesn't have any yet, huh? I think I might need to go. So the lowest number I see is 12, but The 2 doesn't have it, so I actually will need to go one more on that. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10, and plus 2 more is 12. And it looks like this one I have to go all the way to the 6th multiple. Right? So it looks like the least common multiple is going to be 12. Right? Which means on the left-hand side, I'm going to have to multiply by 12. And on the right-hand side, I'm also going to have to multiply by 12. So left-hand side multiply by 12, right-hand side multiply by 12, and that's gonna have to take care of that fraction. So if I multiply by 12, I'm gonna have to distribute on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I can just multiply x and 12, and that makes 12x. 12x divided by 2 makes 6x's. Okay, on the left-hand side, it's gonna be 12 times 15, 6. You notice that 12 and 15 is really big. So one thing you can do if you want is you can simplify the 12 and the 6. So you can say 12 divides into 6 2 times. And then now what I need to do is multiply 2 times 15. And that gets me 30. Okay. And also, you're going to go and take that 12 and multiply into the 3x over 4. And again, you can use this little trick if you are going to use it. 12 divided into 4. So 12 divided, I'm using the blue one now. 12 divided into 4 3 times. So now you're going to go 3 times 3x, and that's going to give me negative 9x. All right? See how this works? Then from here, I'm just going to go ahead and add 9x. That's going to get rid of my 9's and negative 9x's. And I'm going to be left with 30 equals 15x. Let's go ahead and divide by 15. That's going to get rid of my 15. It's going to leave my x's around. So my final answer, x equals 30 divided by 15 is 2. So answer, x equals 2. All right. Down here, yeah. Number 3, okay. Explain how these sequences are changing. Find the next two terms. So first of all, you got to explain how they're changing. So how am I going from 0 to 1? Right? And 1 to 2. Sorry, 1 to 4. And 4 to 9. Right? So 0 to 1, I'm going to think about it. And I'm going to say, well, 0 to 1, let's think of it very simply. Right? 0 to 1 is going to be, actually, let's put it down below. So 0 to 1, I'm going to just start looking at addition. Right? 0 to 1 is going to be adding 1. Right? So 0 to 1, I'm adding 1. And then from 1 to 4, looks like I'm adding 3. Hey, I think I've seen something like this before. And then 4 to 9, I'm adding 5. So I think I know the pattern, right? So the next one should be adding 7. And the next one should be adding 9. Okay? So the next two numbers, 5, sorry, 9, not 5. 9 plus 7 is going to give me 16. And the next comma, next number is 16 plus 9. It's going to give me 25. So how the sequence is changing? They're adding by a multiple of 2 more than the previous, right? And then the next two terms are 16 and 25. All right, so this one is going to be, let's see. I'm not sure about this, but let's do some work, right? Let's do some investigative work. So from 2 to 0, or 0 to 2, that's plus 2. And 2 to 8, it's going to be plus 6. And 8 to 18, plus 10. Ooh, I kind of see this, right? So between each one, you're adding 4 more than the previous. Right? So let's see if this is right. So if I want to know the next couple numbers, right, so the next one should be 18 and then plus 4 more, right? So plus 14. So my next number should be 18 plus 14 is going to be what, 20, 32? Okay, and then the next one after that, so plus 18. That's going to give me 32 plus 18 is 40, 50. Okay, so I'm adding by an additional 4 more than the previous term. So this first term from 0 to 2, I'm adding by 2. But from 2 to 8, I'm adding 4 more than 2, which is 6. And from 8 to 18, I'm adding 4 more than 6, which is 10. So that's going to keep going that way. Okay. It looks like if I went backwards, it's the same thing, right? Except it's just symmetrical. So if you look, if I was going to do this, I can say that these are going to be the same. If I want to go backwards, these are going to be the same. So so if I wanted to go backwards pretty far, the next term should be 18. Okay, except I'm not going back that far. So, right? So I don't need to do that. Okay, and number 4. It's the first 4 terms in each arithmetic sequence. Okay, so the first 4, so I need to do this when my my n is 1, n is 2. So we'll do the 2 different ways, right? So first, if I'm just kind of just typing in or writing in, so if my n is 1, what I get? And when n is 2, what I get? When my n is 3, what I get, and so forth, right? So I'll kind of set that up. So n is 2, so be 6 times 1 minus 2, 6 times 2 minus 2, n is 3, 6 times 3 minus 2, and n is 4, right? So if I put in 1, right, so my first term, that means 6 times 1. If I put in 2, that means my second term, 6 times 2 minus 2. My third term, 6 times 3 minus 2. And my fourth term, 6 times 4 minus 4. You can see this is quite a bit of work, which isn't too bad, but it's a little bit of work. Okay, so my first term is going to be 6 times 1 is 6 minus 2 is 4. My second term is 6 times 2 is 12 minus 2 is 10. My third term, 6 times 3 is 18 minus 2 is 16. My fourth term, 6 times 4 is 24. 24 minus 2 is 22. Okay, so my arithmetic sequence starts off with 4, comma 10, comma 16, comma 22. Right. So we'll use this idea because this is fine, but that's a lot of calculations. So I will use this idea and take a look at this. Okay, the slope is 6, and to go from 4 to 10, that's plus 6. See that? 4 and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 to 16, that's plus 6. 16 to 22, that's plus 6. So we can use this idea for the next one. All right, so for the next one, let's do it differently. Let's find the first number. So S of 1 is going to be negative 4 times 1 plus 3. All right, so S of 1 is negative 4 times 1 plus 3. So that makes negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Okay, and now I'm just going to jump to the bottom. So that's my first term. So my first term is negative 1. My next 3 terms is I'm just going to go ahead and utilize my slope. Okay, and that's going to be telling me what's going to happen. So from here, I'm actually going to be adding a negative 6 or negative 4, excuse me. So adding negative 4 really just means minus or subtracting 4. So if I'm adding a negative 4, I'm really just subtracting 4. So negative 1 minus 4 gives me negative 5. You see how easy that is? And I don't have to do the whole, the second one, right? And the third one and the fourth one. I'm just going with the next one and the next one. Okay. Next one, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 4. So negative 5 subtract 4 is negative 9. And then negative 9 subtract 4 gives me negative 13. In this case, I've found my 4 terms. Okay. All right. I think that's a wrap. So see you guys on the next one.